What is going on, gang? Happy Wednesday, new comic book day. And on top of all that, it is Comic Collector Origins back, season 2, episode 5. Yeah, feels good to be back. And hey, been doing this now on and off for the last month and a half or so. Just bringing this show back. Comic Collector Origins is all about the community. It's where I take time to interview my guests that I've met through Instagram comic community, the YouTube comic community, local comic cons, all variety types, to have on as a guest to learn more about their origins, to learn more about how they got into this amazing hobby, and to see kind of where their journey has taken them thus far. So appreciate everybody who's been supporting the channel for Comic Collector Origins, and me as No Good Comics. It's definitely been a journey, and just feeling extra grateful tonight, especially with the holidays here, and very excited for Christmas. Got my Fragile shirt on, gotta rock that, and my Santa hat here. So just feeling festive. I love this time of year. If you're following me over on Instagram, I've been posting hashtag 25 days of Christmas comics, a ton of community members doing same thing or similar tags, and it's just been a lot of fun to see a lot of great Christmas books, holiday books, just wintry themed books in general. Some of the books, I just posted one today, Harley Quinn. It was technically a February Valentine's Day book, but there was snow in it, and so to me, if there's snow on the cover, it's a holiday, it's a Christmas book. So we're gonna be showing a few extra books off tonight, as just keeping the holiday theme going. So excited for that. I do have my my Lego tree here hanging as well. So built that from last year. I even have this little guy here that I brought, has some extra little gifts down below. This is this orange one here. That's a comic book right there. Appreciate everybody watching. If you're watching the replay, thank you as well. Hope you all having a great holiday season. Smash that like button if you haven't already. I see a couple people hanging out in the chat already. Really excited. Before I get into the chat and say hi to everybody, I want to bring on my guest, and I want to talk about my guest here. My guest is, I consider him a very good friend now. At this point, we've met up several times at local Comic Cons together, gotten to know him over probably a year and a half ish, maybe a little longer than that, maybe 2, and maybe longer. Maybe he'll correct me. Just seeing him at local Comic Cons, and being able to just get to know him more and what he collects and what he's into. It's really been a long time coming. I think when he and I first connected, this show was kind of on hiatus. So, now that I brought it back, I mean, I have a list of who I want to kind of interview here, and he definitely was one of them on the list. So I'm really excited, and just a great dude, very supportive of the channel, very much into comics, and I know he loves it. So, of course, I'm talking about my good friend, Stevie, AKA Conlon Comics. Stevie.
Oh, what is up?
What's up, dude? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Thank you, man. That was quite the intro. I don't know where to go from that.
What do I do?
Oh, no, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and Merry Christmas. I got my Jack Skellington light up. I tried to rock the Santa hat. It was too tight. I'm like, I'll never survive with this thing on. So
I don't blame you.
I couldn't do it.
It does get extra warm, so that's the other downside. Yeah. I'll be sweating here.
I went with the red sweatshirt. I was like, this is good enough.
There you go. Throw some New Jersey Devils in there. Yeah, I dig it. I dig it.
That's on purpose. That's on purpose.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Well, dude, man, I appreciate you coming on board here. I appreciate you just in general, because you've been awesome. You've been part, supporting my channel for a long time now. It's been fun to get to know you, and I mean, I'm going to be learning more about you tonight for sure. But I just wanted to, take some time to say thank you for everything you do.
Yo, man, I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of your channel. You're just a really good dude. You deserve all the accolades you got, Dan. You're a great person, great channel. I enjoy it. I wouldn't be on checking it out and supporting it if I didn't think that. So
I appreciate you, brother. Cool, man. Well, for those who don't know Stevie, Conlon Comics, I put his information in the description below. Make sure you check him out. Got his YouTube channel there, Instagram down there as well. If you've never connected with Stevie, reach out to him, talk some comics. We're going to learn a little bit more about you here tonight. And if you're watching the replay, do that as well. Info's down below. Let's say a quick hello to the chat, because I see some people hanging out. I saw my man James Las Cruces, man, 1971. Woo! He says still morning. 2:13 p.m. hanging out here, and then he comes back in at 4:10. this afternoon. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Woo.
The tailgate is real.
It is 2 to 4 hours. He's chilling. James, man, I appreciate you, dude. He always leaves comments on the videos too afterwards. Much love. Always see him in other people's chats. Very, very much appreciative of you, James, for hanging out. We got my man Matt in Clemson also hanging out with us. He says, just wanted to say, hey guys, can't watch live tonight, but looking forward to the replay and when I get off the road. Awesome, Matt. Appreciate you swinging by and always taking time to watch the replay. Let's see. We got my man Johnny Boy, who was just live over at Magic Lasso's channel. They kicked it off at 9:00 Eastern, doing their thing with Justice League versus Avengers breakdown. So good to see you, John. Just streamed with him last night.
It was a good show. It was a good show.
You know what? Oh, dude, we gotta not to go off topic here, but that Magic book that you had posted yesterday.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I know I'm gonna be on the Omni show at some point later. I think it's in February or something with you guys. I have a surprise. I was very glad you guys liked that cover because I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, dude.
I don't want to spoil anything, but
yeah. No, that's a beautiful book. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pumped about that. It was a nice signature too. So
yeah, the artist too, Zerdy. Yeah, I've definitely seen that name before. Very cool. Let's see. We got Dan P saying hi from Denver. What's going on, Dan? Thanks for hanging out. We got my man 62 Lefty Blues in the house. What's going on, 62? Appreciate everybody. Like I said, smash that like button if you haven't already. If you're watching the replay, appreciate you. All right, man. Stevie, you ready to do this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess we should cheers first.
Hey man, hell yes, yes it is. Yeah, man. Gotta get my Ravens glass in there.
That is a nice glass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. All right, let's dive in. I mean, I'm kicking this off in the way I always do, and that is, where does your origin story begin? What was your surroundings like at the time? Was there someone that got you into it? Did you discover comics on your own? What did that look like for you? And how long ago was it?
So I've been like collecting basically since I was young, but it's always gone, in waves, basically moments where I was in my life where I was collecting heavy and in and out of it a little bit. The two biggest people that influenced my collecting were my brother, who's 11 years older than me, and my mom, who was also a big reason and basically cultivated like a lot of like the collecting and stuff like that for me. But my brother was 11 years older than me, so when I was born in the 80s, I grew up in the 90s, but like he was a kid of the 80s, so like when I was younger, he turned me on to Transformers and JJ. I got all the good 80s cartoons and stuff like that from him. It's so funny to think like Transformers the movie is still like one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's released a year after I was born. Like,
yeah, that's amazing.
It's crazy to think. Like, but he turned me on to all that stuff. He, Star Wars was huge for him. He was definitely the person who influenced my collecting the most by far. My brother was my hero, still is my hero. He's and like I was just always very heavily influenced by him, and he collected comics. So that's where I kind of really started to grow the love for it, kind of. And throughout my years, he would turn me on to big books. He was the one who introduced me to Watchmen, which is my favorite book, not just comic, my favorite thing I've ever read in my entire life. It's absolutely. Have you ever read it? I meant to ask you that,
dude. I've watched the movie. I've never actually read it though, and that's a shame on me. A book that I've always told myself I should read.
Obviously, highly recommended. But yeah. So my brother was very influential with this, and then like I said, I grew up in the 90s, and my mom was a big influence. It's like when I did good, if I did good in school, I got comics. Like.
That's cool.
If I went to help out with the groceries, I got a comic, like
right,
stuff like that. So, and she knew that I was very much into art and stuff like that. So she was very much, she pushed it. Like, it wasn't like, something that she tried to steer me away for. Like I should have my head in the book. She was like, no, this is good. So
supportive.
Yeah. And then, so like, the 90s are big, obviously all the big animated series in the 90s, X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man, all that stuff was huge for me. I was a big Turtles guy. Ninja Turtles were huge when I was a kid. Like Ninja Turtles, like bed, sheets, like the whole thing, head to toe. Like, like a chubby young kid out in the middle of the yard doing karate, pretending he's Donatello. Like,
I love it.
And then, like I probably took a break around like high school. I was just interested in different stuff. Like high school was just a whirlwind and stuff like that. So my collecting, I always kind of kept an ear to the ground about like what I should be reading. My brother was still giving me books to check out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was more so like I was reading graphic novels at that time, not more so collecting
like individual issues and things
stuff like that.
Right.
And then after high school, I moved to Vermont. I had a couple friends that went to University of Vermont, and they asked me to come up and check out Burlington, Vermont. And I went up and visited a couple times, and I absolutely just fell in love with the town. I ended up moving up there, and what I found is there was a comic shop like walking distance to where I lived.
Nice.
And I started to get back into individually collecting. It was around the time where like Civil War was coming out.
Okay.
Like that. So it was a good time for comics. It was a good time to kind of get back into it. And then I had also found another seller in that town that focused on selling like vintage stuff. So I started to dabble into like collecting vintage, older stuff, just characters that I really loved, and trying to pick up, stuff like that. And then what happened was after that, I ended up moving back to New Jersey, and it kind of dipped a little bit. I wasn't so much into collecting. I've always collected a bunch of different stuff like music and, pops. And I was always a collector. It didn't always have to be comics. Comics was always the underlining theme. Yeah. But I would collect anything. I collect vinyl records. Like it's a problem. But.
Oh, nice, dude. I'm right there with you, man. I am right there. It definitely is a problem, especially for the wallet at times and the space at times.
Space is. I don't even want to get started on this.
Exactly.
I'm in the middle of the giant reorganization as we speak. But, so then when I got back to Jersey, I got hired as a bouncer at a local bar, and my friend Phil was the one who hired me, and we really hit it off. And he was into all the same stuff, like nerd culture. Unfortunately, Phil passed it. I think it was 2016. But he was a really good friend of mine. We ended up moving in together with our other friend Simon, and it was like a trifecta of nerd culture. Like,
oh man, I
started playing Magic again. Like we were staying in and playing Magic. This was the height of the nerdum.
Yeah.
Like instead of going out, but watching horror movies, getting back into collecting, and then after that, it was like when the pandemic hit was really when I had time. I discovered like online selling, things like that, and like that's and then since then basically it's been a deep dive full in, and I really haven't, because I figured like if I was going to do it, I wanted a side hobby. I'm at the point in my life where I was like, this makes sense, like to continue on with this kind of thing.
Yeah. And
since then I've just been all in, started the Instagram page, dabbled in some YouTube stuff, and it's just that's where we're at now. So and I love it. The best thing that's probably come out of it is the community, finding this online community. Yeah, really cool. All the information that's out there now. I think it was one of the things that not deterred me from collecting when I was younger. Yeah, but like this is it's there's so much more information, so many more people talking about it, so much more to watch and stuff like that. That it kind of keeps it fresh and going for me. So.
Absolutely.
That's kind of where we're at now.
Dude, I love it, man. And like, yeah, you're right. I mean, the internet, the community, like, just finding other people from across the world, if you wanted to talk about the very things you love and that you collect, makes it so much more just engaging, right? Compared to as we were kids. And if if no one was around, you were just in your room, you were in your room with your pogs or your magic cards or whatever. And that's, it was not exactly the same, like, in that regard. So even for like, we talk about YouTube and stuff like that, and just to see everybody's collections every day and people posting haul videos and, or selling books or selling things, like all that stuff, like is all part of, just keeping it relevant to our own entertainment. And, so yeah, I love to hear it. And I wanted to go back for a second. So and John, a few things in the chat too. John said he says my older brother and my mom had a similar impact on me to comics, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, and for you to share that, like I can only imagine. And I say this. I mean, it's like it's funny that I'm saying it, but I can only imagine having someone in your life that would be there to like guide you to like the cool stuff, right? And this is not to take away from my dad in any way. For those who know, my dad is an artist for Magic and for Marvel and DC. I very much rejected what he did, but like you know, I'm sure obviously he would have done the same if I were to listen, you know, but it's cool that you like, you know, you had that connection with your family and your brother, especially to just be like, don't worry, bro. Like, you know, I got you. Watch this, read this, do
it's
that.
also like I'm very similar. Like I was very different from my dad. Like I almost did the same thing. I rejected some of the stuff. But with my brother, it was different. I wanted to be like my brother.
That's a good point.
Honestly, my mom would probably say that he turned me on to some of this stuff way too young. He gave me The Watchmen in like 4th grade. I should not have been reading that book in the 4th grade.
Like, right. That's a great point.
So much of it went over my head. And then I would read it again, like a couple years later, and gain more and more and more. Like, but I remember reading it like later on and being like, I should not have gotten this book when I did. Right. I don't know what he was thinking, but
no, dude, that's a good point. I mean, I know for myself, I probably wouldn't have, I mean, even if I wasn't in comics, I don't know if I would have stumbled upon that just knowing, or, you know, at a younger age, but that is a good point. Dan P also talking, you know, the hype for Loving Watchmen, said it changed his world.
It changed my life, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Gore, my man Gore Vidal getting at me again, and you're not wrong, Gore. You're not wrong for unsubscribing to my channel for reading Saga and not reading Watchmen. Yeah, and also Eric SideQuest Comics in the chat saying happy holidays. Good to see you, brother. Thanks, man. Yeah, rocking the hat, inspired by Eric. There jumped right after hanging out with you for a while. Jumped over onto good old Amazon. I had another one. I have a Ravens one that I've always worn every Christmas, and I can't seem to find it right now. So I'll have to look for it. Oh, my man X-Men Mike in the chat. What's going on, Mike? It's been a while. Happy holidays, man. Hope all is well. We got Ruben Guzman in the chat saying Cowabunga. What is going on, my friend? Thanks for swinging by as well. If you guys are just joining, I'm talking with Stevie, aka Conlon Comics. I put his information in the description. Make sure you sub him up if you get a chance. So you know, doing this show as often now as I have been, and over the course of time, how many people I've met, it is interesting to hear, you know, time and time again, and not everybody, but time and time again, there's these, as you said, like kind of this wave of, you know, you're into it, you're out of it, you're into it, you're out of it. I also find it interesting that you were always a collector, just not necessarily always being comics per se. And even furthermore, the idea that, you know, like you said, like individual comics was not necessarily the thing for you at an earlier age. You were very much into graphic novels, and which is great. I mean, those are the stories, right? Getting the full details of that. I guess, what was it that switched you over to like wanting to get more pinpointed on, you know, individual comics? I see you have a ton of short boxes behind you, maybe some long boxes, but, you know, what was kind of the switch to that, or if there was one?
So there really wasn't too much of a switch. Like I had always collected individual comics. It was more so that like I wasn't there every new comic book day to grab new comics. It was like I was there periodically. I would grab new stuff. If I heard about something coming out, I would try to follow along. If I heard something was really good, I would collect it individually. It was more so like when I was in, more so, I guess, like high school, it was just easier to read graphic novels, like a collected series, like rather than like try to collect individual issues. Once I got older and I had my own space and things like that, I wanted to have a collection like I have now and stuff like that. I moved a lot when I was young. It was hard to hold on to stuff.
That's a good point.
Like, and comics were really one of the things that followed me everywhere I moved. Like it was probably like a short box of like my individual collected comics up until I really went in like full.
Oh wow.
But always reading, always collecting graphic novels, always different other different collectibles and stuff like that. And now it's just gone insane.
Yeah, man. I love it. I do at some point here in this conversation want to circle back to your love for music and magic. We'll get to it. I wanted to know, what was the the drawing point to creating Instagram, YouTube channel and making content, things like that. I know you mentioned that, and I've been following you for a little while now. I guess what stemmed from that, and
Yeah. So when I kind of really got back into it heavily around the pandemic, I discovered obviously these online communities. I thought, like, if I was going to have a hobby, if I was going to have a somewhat of a side hustle where I'm investing in comics and, maybe selling to basically continue the hobby and stuff like that, or fund the hobby. That I just wanted to do it and have a place where I could show it off. I wanted to keep it separate. So like if you do follow me, you see I have a personal page and then I have a comics page, and like and I just was like, I want to do this. I want to show off some of the stuff I have. I loved seeing other people's collections and all this cool stuff that was out there. I've over the pandemic, I found all these like live shows, online shows for sales and stuff. And I thought like, not so much that like, oh, I can do that, but more so like if I got to the point and, got enough information, I could probably, do this as a hobby and, have some fun with it. I have always loved it. So why not? Like, and that's just kind of where it went. When it came to the Instagram page, it didn't really have any real reason behind it or anything like that. It was just I wanted to show things off. The YouTube stuff that I've dabbled in it's been fun. It's hard to like kind of like find your voice when it kind of comes to some of that stuff, which is what I've found. Like I did a comic book preview show for basically almost a year. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm just talking about the stuff that I want to read. Like, and it's like, I don't know how many people would actually want to hear this kind of thing. So it's like, maybe I could, either come up with a different perspective or a different way to, show that or something like that. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it now. I still do like haul videos and stuff like that. I like doing a haul video like after an event. So like when we were at King Con, I did like a King Con haul video after that, stuff like that. But besides that, I'm still very much interested in it. I'm kind of figuring out where I want to go with it at this point. So
that's awesome. I love it. And it's something that I think even when you do figure it out, it's going to be something that will always evolve and always, change. And obviously with your interest might, change and grow along the way. So it's interesting that you say it can be tricky to find your voice and, a way to be yourself, but also, create content that, is appreciative. And, for anyone out there struggling with that, cause I mean, I've definitely gone through that time and time again. It is hard. I mean, it's not easy to kind of do that and find it, especially when everybody's doing, I mean, there's so many people doing so many similar things and you're trying not to, you don't want to take someone else's thunder, but at the same time, it's like, I'm
also like my own worst critic. So like, I'll do these things and I'll be like, who wants to hear this? Who wants to hear from me?
You beat yourself up. Yeah. Who
like,
am I, right?
It's like, but that's just stuff in my head. I love it. I love having conversations like this. Like, like other people's shows. Anyone wants to talk. I'm always down to talk. So,
for sure. Well, you mentioned, we talked about Comic Cons from earlier, and I wanted to ask you too. Do you recall your first experience at a Comic Con where, were you always did your brother bring you to Comic Cons when you were younger? Or do you recall your first experience at like a Comic Con? You mentioned King Con before, like whether it was something bigger or smaller, just in general, any of those thoughts come to mind?
So I didn't go to cons when I was younger. A couple like local things here and there. I can't remember what year, the first year I went to New York Comic Con, but I was actually living in Vermont at the time. I came back with my roommate.
So you came down.
And we came back to New Jersey, stayed in New Jersey, and went to Comic Con.
Nice.
And it was amazing. And like since then, it's kind of been I pick and choose which years I can go to, what I have going on. But New York pretty steadily after that. And now that like I'm back, like very much into this community and stuff like that, going to like local shows like King Con, Super Jersey is another one, stuff like that. But I do want to get to more, but New York was my first. New York was my first. Yeah.
Do you remember anything specific about that experience, that first time in New York City, or not New York City, but New York Comic Con, like as a whole? I mean,
I just remember being blown away by the size of it. Like,
I
was like, holy crap, this is way larger than I thought it was going to be. And
was there
more people?
Was there anyone in particular that you met that time? Any artists or creators or actors even?
I honestly can't remember. I remember the experience, but like I remember the two guys I went with from Vermont. They weren't even comic book fans. They were like modern art fans, and they collected like I can't even remember what they were called. They were like Dunnies or something like that. They were small figures that different artists did. Like it was like a small figure, and different artists would do their rendition of that, and that's what they were very much into. So like I was on my own, like they were in
That's cool.
like the toy section.
Doing their
I'm
thing,
like,
yeah.
I'm like digging through bins and stuff and like kind of just awestruck of everything.
Yeah.
But it was a weird one. And then, you know, after that, like since then, obviously I've kind of nailed down what I want to do with these things.
Yeah.
But I think the first one, it was just kind of like no plan, just went in and I was like, whoa,
like,
what the?
Oh yeah, what is all this? Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's everybody's first experience for the most part.
But I did do, so there used to be a con in Asbury Park, which I don't know if everyone knows this. We're both from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I live in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But I worked at a con for the Asbury Park Comic Con with my buddy Phil that I had mentioned earlier. He knew who was running it and asked if I wanted to do security for it. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Chris Claremont was there.
Oh my God. Oh shoot. That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was so cool. I had a blast doing security. It's very light security work. It's comic book.
I can imagine. Yeah. Everybody's so happy getting along
Yeah.
all the time. That's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask too, like, as far as current stuff goes, you know, we met up at King Con and a few others around here, but have you gone to Terrificon before? Have we talked Terrificon?
No, we've talked about it a bunch. I've never gotten to do it. Like, I've wanted to go for like the last 3-4 years.
Oh, okay.
It just hasn't happened. Like, either I have something else scheduled that time, or I want to make it happen. I really do. Everything I hear about it, it's like, and every time you have someone on, there's Terrificon stories, and I'm just like,
dang it.
Because I love Atlantic City. Like I love, you know, like things like that.
That's right. Yeah, you do. That's right. We've talked about that.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I gotta get to that. I have to. There's a bunch I want to see though, man. Like Terrificon. I want to see Baltimore. And then that Heroes Con. I want to see something on the West. I have a friend for the longest time has worked with San Diego Comic Con, and she tells me every year, if you get a place to stay, you're in. Like you're good. I've never pulled the trigger. It's like, come on, I just got to do it at this point. That's the bucket list. Like,
there you go. Yeah, it's you know, it's like a take it year at a time. You know, I try to cross it off my list as I go, and you know, obviously can't get to all of them, at least not in the same year. But yeah, over time, I would say, yeah, dude, I would. I know you would love Terrificon, I know you'll be there at some point. And when you do, you gotta let me know. We gotta coordinate or something because it is right down your alley. When you do this, when you are able to swing it, try to go big if you can. And by big, I mean you know, try to go the full weekend. Try to go an extra day early or stay, you know, Sunday or whatever.
Yes, get there early, stay late.
Stay up late each night. Like we're all out at bar, you know, always something to do.
I would be.
Yeah. Everything you love, it's all there, man. So no, that's cool. So I wanted to ask too, just a little bit about like your current goals right now with the hobby. I know you know, as far as like YouTube and stuff goes, you're trying to, you know, still figure out kind of what direction you want to go next. But as far as just like comic books as a hobby goes, you know, whether it's collecting or reading certain things or whatever, like what is the goal? What do the goals look like? At least maybe going into 2025. You know, have you thought about anything specific?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things have definitely changed, and I feel like this gets talked about a lot on this show. Is like how changes in collecting per individual like come about and stuff like that. Like my collecting, even from when the pandemic hit, is so different from the way I collect now. When I started getting really back into it heavily, I stressed value so much. I was trying to get the best value for what I was getting, and if it was good enough value, even if it wasn't something that I terribly wanted, I was like, that's good value.
Right.
Dude. And I do it all the time. That made no sense. I shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
So like you kind of live and learn. And like right now, I'm just more so about collecting what I really want to do, having focus on something, like collecting a specific run, things like that, narrowing it down. I was so all over the place. It's definitely narrowed down. And also more so focusing on, you know, when it comes to like newer stuff. I'm a big fan of new books. I know that's not like everyone's thing, but like focusing on new books, keeping up with those, reading runs, and being current on what the current state of comics are. Like I like that. I really do love that part of it. So
100%. I think, I mean, I'm right there with you, you know, as much as, I mean, I'm, you know, I buy the old stuff, but man, the new stuff's always the one. Yeah. I mean, just like today, you know, today, New Comic Book Day is just like so exciting. And with that said, I didn't even get to make it to my shop today. The one time in like the whole year I missed because because we got like, you know, office holiday parties and stuff we got to go to. It's like requirements to go. And
Yeah.
so, you know, I told Zap I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah. As far as like goals though, you know, I
Yeah.
want to continue. I sell on Whatnot. I like doing shows here and there.
Yep.
I have stuff that I can get rid of that I don't have to, and it's just a good way to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't have to
Makes
like
sense.
do it full time.
Yeah.
And besides that, like I said, narrowing down what I want to do as far as YouTube page, I would love to do a roundtable like YouTube type show. I just don't know if I'd be able to be the one that organized it all. But like something like that really interests me, where you get like different types of opinions. Like I love that. Those are my favorite types of shows.
Yeah.
And then like as far as the Instagram stuff is just continuing to post regularly. I feel like if I do a solid week of posting, I'm like, I feel good. I'm accomplished. Like,
Yep. 100%. I am with you there, dude. It's and it's, you know, it's easy to fall off sometimes, but it's, you know, it's as long as you're having fun, what's up, JP?
Yeah.
JP was just on our show last night for Omni X-Men. Good to see you, brother.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about some comic books. Like you know, I always ask my guests, you know, do you have a special book, something that's in your collection right now that means something special to you that you wanna share?
Yeah, absolutely. This was kind of hard for me to narrow down because I was like, I didn't really know where I wanted to go with it, like a book from my past. So there's 2 books on my wall that you can't see here. One of them is Black Knight #1 and Adventures of Ninja Turtles. I think like 7. I'm not sure, but they're just beat to hell. The covers are detached. Like I took these books everywhere.
Yeah.
Like they came to school with me. Like
well loved.
Yeah. And I remember like going back through my stuff and finding I'm like, I can't believe I still have these. I just had to frame them and put them up. But the book I chose to show off was my copy of
that's way up here. Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. This is the 5th printing.
Oh man.
This was my brother's book.
Oh wow.
So this was his book. And I just love this book in general. The art on this book is just beautiful. I think it's honestly the nicest of the TMNT #1 covers. Like the Splinter holding the turtles in his hand. It's also like a wraparound. But like my brother knew how much Ninja Turtles meant to me as a kid, like the cartoon. I didn't even know they were a comic until I was like, obviously after like watching the cartoon. So when he moved out and didn't live with us, he gave me a bunch of his comics, and this was one of the ones that he basically, made sure that I knew what I was getting here. And like I said, it's 5th print. The longest time, I didn't know what print it was. Right. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever that I had Ninja Turtles #1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comics. So that's definitely like probably my most priceless. It's not like a super valuable book. And then I have like a couple other ones from like my original collecting that I've had graded or stuff like that, like different books. But that one I thought was the one that stood out the most when I was like narrowing this down.
Dude, I have to admit, I have never seen that cover before. I had no idea.
I love it, man.
Hold that up again. Seeing the hand there, that is wicked, man. I've always seen, I'm not the biggest Turtles fan. I was when I was a kid. I remember the movies. I loved them, but never got into the comics or anything like that. But I know so many people, even Chinmo, who was here as my guest 2 weeks ago, is a big fan. And I've always seen the 3rd print. And that cover, like the original cover too. And I've never seen that one though. It's really cool.
I love it.
And the color changed.
One of my favorite Turtles covers ever, if not my favorite. Like, it's so cool.
Yep. And Dan agrees with you, man. Incredible cover. Absolutely. So as a little change up, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that we were going to have a couple of holiday or Christmas books as well to share, now that the season's in full gear here. And so, Stevie, you have a couple of books that you want to show just as far as like favorite holiday books go?
Yeah. Do you want to go like back and forth or one at a time?
Sure. Yeah, we can go back and forth. Go ahead, you kick it off.
The first one I grabbed, and it's so funny you were talking about the snow covers as a holiday cover, because I was like, I don't know if this one qualifies, but it does. And for the same exact reasons you were saying, like if it's got snow on it, I consider it a holiday cover. Yeah. So this is Swamp Thing Winter Special.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Which is one of my all-time favorite Swamp Thing covers. And I got it signed by Jason Fabok at New York Comic Con this year.
Oh, fantastic. All right.
I absolutely love this book. It's Tom King also wrote it.
Wow. Oh, I don't think I realized it.
It's amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite Swamp Thing stories, but the cover is unbelievable.
Yeah, that is a wicked
for like a winter cover. Yeah. I just absolutely love this book. So I'm a huge Swamp Thing fan. I want to get the second print. The second print has like the old school Swamp Thing trade dress, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
been trying to find it. I haven't been able to find it yet, but that was my first pick for holiday covers. And
Shoot,
the fact
man.
that I had just gotten it signed too, I was like, I gotta show this.
Yeah, that's perfect. I have to. I know. I remember that. I feel like I remember when that came out, or at least I seen it because that's like a fairly modern. I mean, it's Tom King,
Yeah,
right?
I
It's
have. I
fairly
wrote down
modern
the
book.
year. What year was it? 2018.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, I
Yeah,
was collecting at that
fairly
time.
modern.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I feel like I have it somewhere, but yeah, I would have thought the same thing. Like snow cover, beautiful
beautiful,
Christmas
beautiful Swamp Thing.
book. Yeah, and
Awesome.
Swamp Thing I've definitely grown on more and more over the years. So I never
Yeah.
got to read that issue though, so I will have to check that out. You
So
said it was
one
good.
of the reasons I got into Swamp Thing, we were talking about watching before, is Alan Moore had the amazing
Oh,
Swamp Thing run.
Run. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so like that was what that's what grew my love for Swamp Thing basically because I
See, and
love
I
the
read
writer. That
that. No, that makes total sense. And I've read the original Alan Moore's for like the first trade, whatever the first trade was.
yeah.
5 6
Mhm.
issues for Swamp Thing, and that's what got me into Swamp Thing. As far as like the just getting more into the character, and
Yeah.
I really need to read more of that. But that was that was kind of what first kicked off for me. So that's I'll have to say I'm pretty sure I own that book that you just showed. But man, that's a great one.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show one of mine here, and it's one I actually really I only showed this book the first time that I when I first got it. And I want to say it was earlier this year. And I mean it might not be one that people expect as especially because I do feel like I do talk and show more Marvel than anything else. This is not a Marvel book, but this is just and it's also multi-theme this book, but it is the most wicked book, modern, Christmas themed slash horror that it just is so fitting. And it's Lieber Mayhew, this Joker cover with
Yes, this cover
Robin,
is notorious.
right?
Like,
Dude, I can't get enough of this cover. Like when and I remember when this first came out, I do remember seeing it and I passed on it for I don't think by choice. I think it was so because it was like sold out like immediately. And I didn't like see it in the previews or anything, so I didn't like get a jump on it. And then of course it went up to being like a $30 or $50 book and it just spiked. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna pull that kind of money on it. But I remember when I did eventually find it, I found it at a local expo that's over here near me in Clifton, and the seller was or the vendor, really great guy, and he was someone who purposely would like put these sweet deals with other books or like in bins that were cheap, and just to see people's faces when they find a good deal, and sure enough, this was one of them. So for this to be, I got this for $5. It was like a $10 book,
wow.
and he was doing everything half off at the time.
Nice.
So he even said, he's like, wow, he's like, this probably should have been more money. And I'm like, I mean, it's up, it's your book. And he's just like, no, man, it's a great find. He's like, it's a great find. Congrats. That'll be $5. I was like, wow, like it was part of a bigger thing, but like he was really nice about it. So anyways, this book to me was,
There's so many great details on that cover, like the kid in the Robin suit, like holding the Batman.
Yes.
The fact that Joker's beard is like off, but it's green. He's got purple gloves on. It's like so many little details on that cover are amazing.
You're totally right. Yeah,
and it definitely has that like that hint of like creepiness that like sometimes that like really makes a book take off. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just odd enough to be people be like, "Oh, this is weird. This is so weird. I gotta get it."
It's so dark. Yeah, it's so twisted. And it's and Lieber Mayhew, like his realism style, like he's been doing a lot of the Batman stuff, a lot of DC in general. Bermayhew is very, very talented, and so I think that also just makes this thing pop even more. So but yeah, so that's one of mine. What's your second book? I'm very curious because I know you mentioned we might have the second.
I was gonna say I don't know if I want to show the second one because I think it might be one that you pick. So I kind of want to wait on that. So I'm not gonna show what the second pick was, but we can talk about it. But the other one that I had picked was Sabrina the Teenage Witch Winter Special.
Oh, nice!
This came out last year. I thought this was just like the most gorgeous winter holiday cover. Like. I don't collect like a ton of Archie or anything like that. I do collect Sabrina books here and there, especially modern Sabrina books.
Nice.
But I thought this cover by Veronica Fish was just like
Man, I gotta get that
Stunning.
book.
I
Yeah,
was like, I
absolutely.
had to get this. Like,
How did I
it's
miss
just
this?
so cool. And I just like absolutely love it.
Hmm.
If you go to her Instagram, you can, there's like, if you scroll down and see this, she had a couple different design ideas for what she wanted to do with this and ended up settling on this one, which I'm so happy she did.
Wow.
I just find this cover like absolutely nuts. I put this on display like in my with my Christmas like
Yeah, hell yeah.
decorations and stuff now because I think it's just unbelievable.
It
So I thought it
really
was
it
something
is.
a little different. I didn't
No.
want to go with like something like, you know, I had a wide mix of like wide range of different books I could show for this thing.
Yeah.
But I'm so curious what your next book is. I'm almost want to like push it to the side, like because I know what it's gonna be. I could almost bet
Wait,
on
so
it.
so do you want to guess? Because I'm curious if you if
I'm guessing it's Marvel Holiday Special #1.
ooh, that's a good one. It's not that one, but that
Oh
that is a
wow.
that is a
Okay.
great one. Yeah,
So
yeah. I
this is the one I was thinking it was gonna be.
okay, yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
such a great holiday book. And
Yes.
Arthur Adams cover. Santa is like as declared as a mutant. Like it's just like it doesn't get any more comics in Christmas than this. Like
No,
it's
you're
so
absolutely
good.
right.
So
I
good.
have that in my collection. I don't think I've ever had a chance to read it.
So that's what I was
Quite
saying is
frankly.
like I had to get that book after a
No.
haul video that you showed where you got that book
Yep.
and like went through it. I'm like, I gotta get that.
Gotta get
I have to get
that.
that.
Put it
That's
right at
so
the
good.
top of the list, you know.
Yeah. I was like, I
Uh
gotta get it.
so you know, I'll switch this up here. So it is you know, X-Men related, of course. And it's a book I've talked about a good amount of times, I feel like, over the years. And it's quite frankly just one of my favorite X-Men books ever. And one of the biggest reasons is the fact, and I'm taking it out of the cover or out of the bag right now. One of the biggest reasons is the fact that it the way it kicks off, the story wise, is so beautifully Christmas holiday themed that had just helped continue to win me over as an X-Men fan when I was first reading Chris Claremont's run. So of course I have to show before Uncanny, technically it's X-Men. It's just issue 98, all new, all different, as I put here. But you know, not a lot of people would even see this as a Christmas book at first.
Sneaky pick.
Yes. So when you open up and you get
Yeah.
this beautiful splash page, Merry Christmas X-Men
Yep.
front, man, like it just speaks volumes. You know, the team there, they're in Rockefeller Center, they're right near the tree. There's ice skating, the ice skating rink in the background. It gives me all the chills as far as why, you know, the all the memories and just why I love, you know, parts of why I love Christmas so much. And just seeing the team there as a family, not being superheroes, not saving the world, but just being themselves, enjoying life as a family.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you have you know, they're drinking hot cocoa, they're just talking about, you know, who is it? Gene says, Scott, Storm, all of you, can you believe it? A white Christmas and it's snowing. You know, there's just so many details to this page. And of course, you know, right after like the scene with like Santa Claus, and then everything goes to shit when when the Sentinel come ripping through in New York City. So you know, and the rest is kind of just wild after that. But
I'm a little upset I didn't pick that as like what I would have thought. I could have known that. But yeah, it's so funny you said that. I love when like things like that bleed into like the actual story and stuff like that.
Oh,
even in yesterday's episode of on the X-Men New Mutants,
Yeah.
they get the snow day. I was like, Christmas issue.
Yes, that's all. I'm like, I got to get this. You know, I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna buy that book, you know, 100 times, like our buddy Cali Comics, who has 118 copies. I got to get that book more and more because of that wintry scene there. So yeah, I'm with you. Well, there it is. There's some great holiday themed books there for anybody who was looking for them.
That's such a rabbit hole. We could do a whole show on just holiday books.
We really could. Maybe that's on the list another time. We'll have to. Yeah. So very cool. So and again, for anyone who is you know, tuning in right now, if you're watching the replay, again, just a reminder to make sure you're subbed up to Stevie, Conlon Comics. His information is in the description below. My man Hyper Combo Comics in the house. What is up, Hype? Happy holidays, my friend. Hope everything is well up in Canada. Yeah, man. So Stevie, before we get, I like to do this rapid fire stuff, rapid fire questions. But before we do, I have to ask you one other question that's just related more around new collectors, people who are just getting into this hobby, new readers, people who are trying to explore things for the first time or not know where to start when it comes to this hobby. What one piece of advice comes to mind for you when it comes to knowing that someone is new or someone's on the outside kind of looking in, trying to figure out where do I start? What do I get into first? Is there a piece of advice that you have for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I always love obviously like the collect what you love. I think that's just a really good philosophy to go by. Don't be pressured into like hype or spec or anything like that. I mean, if you want to, that's totally fine, but do it because you want to, not because other people are telling you to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that like what I've found that has resonated with me is like, and something that I also try to preach with my collecting is like, there can be so much negativity sometimes around like fandom communities and things like that. I think for me, like it's important to stay positive. Like what we're doing, these types of things, this is supposed to be fun. Like it's a hobby. Like it's supposed to be for fun. So like when I see people really diving into the negative and to each their own, everyone's right to have their own opinion and stuff like that. But it's like, man, be grateful for what you have, because like appreciate the little things. Like I use this example all the time when people have asked this is like, do you remember the second Suicide Squad movie?
Yeah.
Like, so the villain was Starro, a live action Starro.
Yes.
Like if you would have told me in like the 7th grade that we would ever see a live action Starro in a film, I would have laughed in your face. Like I just would have like laughed, right? Like, so like kind of appreciate that stuff. Like not everything's going to be perfect. A lot of people put a lot of hard work into this type of stuff. So accept what it is. You don't got to love everything, but I sometimes I think the negativity can get the best of us in this community sometimes, in all communities.
Sure.
But so like I think that's important is like, like I said, stay positive, enjoy it. Like it's supposed to be fun. Like, so that's what I would recommend.
Dude, you nailed it, man. I love that advice, and it's a great reminder for everybody, whether you're new to this hobby or not, because I think that anybody could keep that in mind, especially during these great holiday seasons, and just being appreciative for what you have. I think that's the best way to kind of combat things like FOMO or your fear of missing out and things like that. We can get wrapped up in that kind of thing, or even just being in a negative mindset. So to just keep in mind of what you have and to appreciate it and to have fun, we got to hear that from time to time, and I think it's easy to kind of slip from that. So well said indeed. My buddy Colossus Collector Ryan, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, his holiday show was hilarious,
dude. The best.
There was points where I was literally crying during the Jeopardy segment. I was like, I hope I get to meet him in person at some point, because I just want to thank him for that. I was falling like hilarious.
That's why you got to go to Terrificon, because that man will be there. I know. Yeah, dude. You're that was a great show, Ryan.
It really was.
Did you see the one we did for the Council of X Christmas show? He had done early, so he technically had 2 Christmas shows that week. The other one was last. What was it, Ryan?
I think I caught part of it. I don't know.
Dude, if you get a chance, you gotta. I'll have to. Or maybe it was Monday. That's what it was. Monday. I'll have to send it to you. Send you the link, Stevie, because we had done kind of like the Jeopardy thing, but it was very much like a gold team versus blue team, and we were separate.
Yes, the trivia.
For the trivia.
Yes, I did see that.
That was a blast. That was a blast. Ryan put so much work into his stuff, man.
The presentation is unbelievable, man. Yeah, man, he's doing it good.
The Council of Xmas. Yes, that's right.
Great.
Yeah. See, there's a cell right there. Come to Terrificon.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Nice. Well, let's shift gears here just a little bit, because I wanna throw some random questions your way before we wrap up the show. And again, appreciate everybody who's hanging here live right now or watching the replay. Make sure you're subbed up to Stevie. His information's in the description below. I'm gonna throw some questions your way. I call this the rapid fire segment. It's not always so rapid, because I like to hear thoughts behind some of the choices. Sometimes my wife always says, it's not rapid, just don't call it rapid. Just call it the more questions segment or something.
So slightly less rapid fire.
Yeah. the extra slow section. So I'm gonna have some comic book questions. Also gonna mix in some random questions for you because I know we connect on a lot of different things, not just comics. But and a quick hello to Christina Payne in the chat. What's going on, Christina? Happy holidays. Hope you're doing well. First of all, if you could have one superpower, what would that be?
So this is obviously everyone gets this question as like a comic book fan. I think like some of the ones that are come right to mind are the convenience ones, like flying and teleportation.
Yeah.
But like as I've gotten older, my fear of heights has gotten significantly worse.
Oh,
so I don't know if the flying would work, maybe teleportation. But honestly, like I think over time, what I've nailed it down is like I think healing would be the coolest thing ever. Like anytime I ever played a video game or anything like that, I played a healer. I play a healer in Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah,
like stuff like that. And like I think that like I'm not even more so talking about myself. Yeah, that'd be great. But to heal other people, I think would just be the coolest thing, like ever.
Yeah.
Like, and like imagine all the good you could do with that. Like, I think it'd be fantastic. So that has now taken my number one spot, and I would love to do it as like some sort of like sorcery type stuff. Like I love sword and sorcery stuff. So like spell casting, like that's what I picture it as. So that's
totally
my top pick.
Doctor Strange, baby, all day.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I should clarify this. Anyone in the chat, feel free to answer these questions yourselves too. Throw them in the chat. I'd love to light them up. Anybody else has a favorite or something they'd prefer as far as a superpower. I think mine, and I've said this before when people ask me. First time someone asked me that, I'm like, I don't really know, and I'm the one always asking that question. I would go with Domino's powers of luck. That would be my,
that's another one.
That'd be my.
Just be lucky all the time.
No one thinks of that one.
Yeah, the care in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work out.
I genuinely feel like I have that. That's the best part. I kind of am a mutant already. People know. So you mentioned Swamp Thing being a top character, but who's like your number one? I don't know if I know this. Who's like your number one favorite comic character?
My number one is Silver Surfer.
Oh, okay.
I am a huge Silver Surfer fan.
Okay, I kind of knew. We talked briefly. I do remember you talking to King Kong.
I think we might have talked about it at a con.
We did. Yeah.
But yeah, he's like my number one. I loved his story. Like he had a great romance story. The way he sacrifices for his like for his planet. Like I just something about that character resonated with me.
Yeah.
I also love his power set. I think like besides like what we just talked about, I think if you were able to just cruise around on a surfboard in outer space, it would just be like the coolest thing ever. Like I don't know if you ever snowboarded, but like when I lived in Vermont, when we would go snowboarding, there'd be like these every once in a while. You'd get out there early. There's no one on the trail. Maybe it's like lightly snowy. It's just complete silence. It's like the most euphoric feeling. And it's an amazing feeling that is, rivaled by very few other feelings. And like, I can just imagine that to like that extent and how something like that must feel. So but I always loved his story. I just thought it was just really, really cool. Besides that, like I was always drawn to like, I don't want to say B-level Marvel characters, but like character design was always huge for me. So like Moon Knight, Black Knight, Iron Fist, War Machine, these guys that just looked freaking awesome,
like badass
comic book characters.
Yeah,
like that's what I was. And then like I guess a certain like villains, I was always drawn to like Dr. Doom. I always loved Carnage because that was a character that when I was younger, that was like the height of that character. I thought the character design was really cool, even though he was just a thinner red Venom, but he was still awesome. Yeah. So that's kind of like where I'm at. I also like the like Gotham City Sirens characters, Catwoman, Harley, and Ivy. So
nice.
Silver Surfer top.
To clarify with the snowboarding comment, I definitely have snowboarded before if you consider using a sled and sitting on it and going down on your knees, like that kind of thing. I've done that. Yeah. Exactly. My man Rod the Rican in the chat. What's going on, Rod? Happy to see you. Happy holidays to you. Hope everything's well. Closer, you're up late. I know, man. A little bit later than usual for our Origins show here tonight. Had to catch the end of Survivor, so I had to bump this back a tiny bit. But yeah, man, good
Survivor, man. Come on.
So, yeah, you got priorities. Colossus said, "You mean you don't want to be able to turn into organic steel form?"
Surprise! That's not everyone's top pick.
I mean, it's cool and all, It is late. It is late. So all right, let's see. Next question here. Favorite superhero based film.
Okay, it's Batman '89, the original Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. That's
nice.
Top for me. A close second is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original.
Oh, okay.
Well, both these movies still, in my opinion, hold up really well. Jack Nicholson's Joker is such a quotable character. Every time I watch that, I'm like cracking up at his performance. It's amazing. It's like just him alone is like makes that my top pick. But I loved that movie when I was younger. Like I had the Batmobile toy from that movie when I was real young.
Yeah.
Like it's one of in those two movies I can watch whenever they're on. I probably watch them at least once a year, both of them.
Wow.
They're amazing. So.
I probably need to go back and rewatch them because it definitely has been a little while for me for either of the two that you named there. But I mean, I've definitely seen them just as a kid.
Yeah, it's definitely my top two.
Great choices. Great choices. Let's see. Oh, I haven't asked this in a while, but if you could go back in time, like literal time travel, and you could just go back and buy any book that you off the shelf for cover price, that you could never sell. You could never sell it. It would just be a book that is like contractually, part of your collection forever. What would that one book be?
It's probably Amazing Fantasy.
Yeah,
like first Spider-Man.
Yep.
The historic appeal of that book. It's not even something that like I even think now like something I would necessarily chase.
Right.
But like just the historic significance of that book, in my opinion, is where probably what I would go with.
Yep.
That'd probably be my pick for that. So
love it. You let's see, you talk about a lot of reading a lot of newer books, things like that. What is like a top read right now for you, something that you're just really enjoying? Doesn't have to necessarily be your favorite, but just something out there that's
I'm so behind on my new books right now.
Even just last year or two.
I loved what's it Ain't No Grave.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I loved that. I thought that was great. I continue to keep up with Something is Killing the Children.
Oh, you do? Oh, nice. Yeah. I do want to catch up with that.
And Radiant Black. Those are two Montessori. And Moon Man. It's just Kid Cudi's book, which
I
know these are surprising, like weird, kind of like out there's
but things like I've heard good things about all of them. Yeah. Radiant Black, I forgot about that. I was reading that for a while.
Dude, Kyle Higgins, and he's awesome.
I
think he gets more love. I'm trying to think of like really like a Rook for the Ghost Machine.
From the Ghost Machine. Yeah. I have not dived into any
That's
of that
another
stuff.
one for me that I'm absolutely loving. I just again, character design. Rook is like, I look at that book and I go, that is just the coolest looking thing ever. Like
yeah.
So
yep. Nice. You named some great ones. I think that I definitely need to catch up on some of them. Something's Killing the Children is one I loved, and I read the first three, like the hardcover that has like I guess technically the first three trades. And then I had slowed down because I was just reading so many other things, and I'm like, well, I'll wait till the next hardcover comes out and then I'll read that. And technically that's out now, and I think even more than that's out now. So I'm like, I need to just carve out some time.
The full run of Something is Killing the Children, like from one.
The single issue, nice. I got on board at like issue 6, which is still great. I mean, they're all a lot of those books are very sought after. And,
I had to backtrack a little bit, but I read the trade first, and I was like, I got it.
I was hooked. Yeah. All right, a couple quick ones here. If you had to choose one, pizza or cake?
Oh, it's pizza.
Yeah, my boy.
I can't. Pizza is the hardest thing in the world to give up. Just don't. It's impossible. Don't even try.
I'm with you. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. For all you Pepsi lovers out there.
Who's a Pepsi lover?
There's some out there. Man, so far you're 2 for 2 with correct answers. This is great.
Right. Correct answers.
Let's go. Marvel versus DC.
I was always a bigger Marvel fan. I don't hate DC by any means. I was just always gravitated towards Marvel. Yeah. Although Batman is definitely one of my favorite characters of all time. So.
Oh, nice. Well, speaking of Batman, Harley Quinn or Poison Ivy?
Harley. I'm a huge Harley collector. I love Poison Ivy. That's actually a tough decision, but like that's how much I love Harley. Like,
yeah.
I collect. I think I have every run of Harley. Like I collect only like pops of Harley. Like I have Harley figures. Like I love Harley Quinn. I and it's definitely stems from the love of the animated series. Like I love that series. It's so amazing.
Yep. Ryan says Coke Zero for the win. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Coke's Coke, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. James Tynan or Tom King.
Oh, Tynan. I just read more of his. I love them both. Don't get me wrong, but I read more Tynan, and I'll pick up anything that he writes.
Fair. Let's see. Scrolling through here. You know, I mean, I have to throw this one out there. Kind of not, you know, want to see where you are with this question or this comparison. John Byrne or John Romita Sr.
John Byrne.
Nice. It's tough. I love it. Let's see. You mentioned that one already. I won't throw that one your way. You know, I mean, I know we're gonna have you on Omni X-Men, and we'll probably learn more about it there. But you know, if you had to choose one favorite mutant,
Nightcrawler.
Ooh, nice. All right, nice.
Yeah, he was. Oh, again, dude, character design.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just gravitated towards these, and like, but he really did grow on me as a character. I thought another one of those stories that was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, character design, man. I was drawn in. I was like, oh, this is this demon guy. He looks amazing.
Yeah. And he's like conflicted with what he believes and the world.
So funny you said that. I just got this the other day. So the Nightcrawler miniseries.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yep.
There's great covers for this one.
Right? Is it 4 issues?
Yeah. But the most awesome Nightcrawler covers of that series. So good.
Yep. Ryan, I'm curious which one you were referring to as the tough one out of those questions. I know I ran through them, but I'm curious. He did say, yeah, can't go wrong with Kurt. Definitely agree with you there. All right, let's a few more, not so much rapid, but just wanted to bring back up because we talked a little bit about it before we wrap up here. You know, we talked about Magic the Gathering. Tell me a little bit of a background of kind of what Magic the Gathering has meant for you over the years, and do you play it all now or collect it all now?
I don't currently play, but I feel like that's kind of more of like, I'm not a huge fan of the release that's like current.
Fair.
I played when I was younger, and again, I was just completely drawn in by the art. Like I didn't know anything about the game. I just thought these cards looked so freaking cool.
It's great.
Then I started to learn how to play when I was like middle school age. And then it was just, I didn't know, like my friend group doesn't play. Like it was very hard to find people to play. Then when I was telling you, when I moved back to New Jersey and moved in with my friend Phil and Simon, they both just happened to play Magic in the past. So we were playing like every night. We'd go to tournaments and I'd get my, you know, my ass kicked by 15-year-olds. Like,
I love it.
But I do have, it does have a soft spot in my heart. I do love it. I'm not currently playing.
Do you have a deck still, or do you have cards?
Oh, still? I have cards. Still.
Yeah.
It's a money pit when it comes to like playing Magic. It's just like, it's crazy, but I still have some old decks and stuff like that I kept. I'm actually starting to go through them and like start to organize them, because one of the things I didn't do when I was playing was I didn't know anything about value of them.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like starting to go through some of them, and I'm like, wow, this card's actually worth something. Like I'm not playing. Maybe I should put this in like a nice case or something.
Yeah. Little extra protection can't hurt. No, that's cool. I had the experience of playing some with my buddy Sove Collector, Michael, who I've had on this show. He's been on Omni X-Men, and shout out to Michael. I know he catches a lot of the replays for this show. But he and I had gotten together actually at TriffCon this past year. We've been trying to play for the past 5 years because we were pretty sure we had crossed paths like 10 years ago in like the Connecticut area, because I used to grind and play a lot of Magic up there, like competitively, and he used to kind of be in that same circuit. So he and I, we were like, we probably crossed paths at some point, but so we played, and I kicked his butt, man. That's right, Michael. I'm calling you out. I kicked your butt. Merfolk, baby, beating the goblins.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah, dude, I'm a big Merfolk guy. Ryan was talking about Burn and Ramita. I'm curious. I mean, Ryan, I assume Burn for you as big of an X-Men guy you are. But anyways, yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, we'll have to, next time we get together, or maybe when you make it TriffCon, bring your deck with you, because a few of us will have it.
We're gonna make one deck. I'll bring one deck.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all I did. I said I had my Merfolk deck with me, and we battled it out a few games, and it was great. So what about you mentioned music, and I know we had connected on Brian Fallon.
Yeah.
A little while back, because I was going to see him. Actually, that was maybe where we first started really talking separately from just comics. But like
it was
when I
very
saw him
early
on,
when I first like met you, and
yeah, like it must have been 3, because I saw him like 3 years ago.
I was gonna say I can't remember if I had saw that you like posted something from a concert of his or used his music in a post or something. But I'm a huge Gaslight Anthem fan. I'm a huge Brian Fallon fan.
Yep.
I'm right, like where I'm at. I'm right outside of Asbury Park. It's a huge music scene.
Okay.
Like I've seen them a number of times. I've seen them in Asbury Park. I actually saw them this past summer in Asbury Park. Now I mentioned it.
Oh wow, nice. I didn't get to see, I think I only saw him it was Red Bank that I got to see him, and it was like probably 2.5 years ago. It was like maybe 2 winters ago.
I might have been at that show.
So yeah, maybe it was really really special, and yeah. So hearing that your connection with that, I know we had talked a bit more about that, and you were telling me about like Gaslight, and I'm like, I know of his band, but I had kind of tripped over him through a friend who posted something really random on Facebook once about him, about listening to some recent music and just sharing how much he loved Brian Fallon. I'm like, I don't think I ever listened to Brian. He was just talking about Brian Fallon, whatever that. Yeah, I forget the context of the post or whatever, but I was like, a friend of mine is very quirky, into a lot of different things that like that I feel like are not typical to society, and I'm like, oh, let me just see what this guy's all about. And I just randomly gave it a shot. I fell in love with Brian Fallon's solo work. And that's how I and this is only, like within 3 years ago or whatever. And I got my wife into it. Lady No Good is obsessed with, Brian Fallon. And then I just never connected, like, that he was with this band. And I kind of knew it, but I never like went on to look into the band. And you had said like, dude, you really should check out his whole band. Like that's like, that's like his main bread and butter, like in what he does. So, and I still haven't, like, I gave some of the albums a shot, and maybe I just, need to give it more time of day, but like, versus his solo stuff, like I just love, Painkillers, like some of those,
it is different.
It's totally different.
A lot of people say it's not. I'm like, no, it definitely is.
I think it is.
He's just a great songwriter though, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I think that's like thing, but yeah, like I know people that listen to one or the other and not the like, but But yeah, like I said, I've seen him a ton of times.
That's awesome.
Great. Both. I've seen him solo and them together. So
the band. That's cool. So what just talking music, and you mentioned vinyl too, or sorry, you mentioned collecting music. I meant to ask you, were you referring to vinyl, or was it CD or tape or everything, or kind of what is?
So when I was younger, I collected CDs. I bought CDs like crazy. Like that was throwaway, but I feel like everyone did at that point. Now and then like everything went digital. And I found myself like really wanting to have hard copies of like the music that I paid for. So I started collecting vinyl, and so now I have a record collection. And it's like, but what I love about it is I don't just buy everything. I buy albums that mean something to me, or that are very like historically, relevant or anything like that. So it's like they're very specific choices. I'm not just buying anything. Or if I'm seeing a band live, I'll maybe check out a vinyl or something like that. If I'm paying to see the band live, then I'm probably very much into their music.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a great way to support them too, because I know that's a majority of where they make their money, is their merch and stuff like that nowadays. So it's also just a great way to support. So yeah, that's cool. I had tried to pump the brakes a bit on buying vinyl, just because we talked about earlier, just running out of space. And with everything else I've been getting into, obviously I got to draw a line somewhere. But there are a few, and I mean a few, like a handful of bands that I will still go out of my way to make sure I buy their new albums on vinyl, just because they are my favorites. Like Mastodon and Opeth are some of the tops. So but yeah, so I still dabble. I found a record store that's near me called Sound Exchange. I've known about it for a while, but I haven't been there in like 5 years, and I just went back not too long ago. It's kind of cool to just be back in an old school like record store, the way that it was like before.
Yeah, and diving through record bins is very much like diving through comic bins.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like, even like the just like flicking through the emotion of it. Exactly. You find something good, you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So, what I guess right now, where's your music tastes lie? Like, what are you currently listening to? Is there a big group or artist that you're just like obsessed with currently, other than maybe some holiday jams and stuff?
Yeah. So obviously a lot of holiday music.
Yeah.
But yeah, my taste in music is all over the place. I range from like obviously rock and punk rock and to like EDM, old school hip hop,
Nice.
some folk music, some jam music. Like I've seen Fish a bunch of times. I'm all over the place when it comes to music. My favorite stuff to listen to probably right now is probably like I really love the Menzingers, the Wonder Years. These are kind of things along the same lines of the Gaslight Anthem and Brian Fallon and stuff. But I'm always looking for new stuff, like constantly. I got a lot of friends that turn me on to different music and stuff like that. I love seeing live music. I'm in a great area for checking out live music. So I'm always give something a chance. Like, even if I don't know it that well. Went to this show a couple weeks ago to see this band called Dexter and the Moonrocks. And I was like, these guys were freaking awesome. Like they were so good. I was blown away by how good they were. And I was like, I knew very little bit about them before I went to the show. And so I'm always down to, go out and see some live music and check stuff out like that. So it's all over the place, but
we are very much same wavelength here, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I've known you my whole life. I'm very, very similar, man. Just very open to music. I always a believer there's good music in every genre, kind of,
Yeah, I was saying we got to find a show like somewhere, like maybe at the Stone Pony over the summer or something that we can get to or something.
Absolutely, dude, I'll come out near you. You're
going to see Mastodon and Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah, dude, I just got my tickets.
Freaking love Coheed and Cambria. I saw that, and then I saw where it was, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can go there.
Yeah, dude. Oh, come on, you got to swing it. It's like, I mean, for me, it's like a 2-hour drive. It's like
it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So we'll see. But I was like, man, that'd be a cool show to go to.
Yeah, and that's at the Hartford whatever center. I forget the name of it, but it's a beautiful. I saw a Ghost there once before last year. Nice. My wife and I went there. And it's just, it's a big outdoor thing, but it's like an all day thing. They got like food trucks and like, little shops and things like that. So it's a really nice venue that you could make it be worth the trip out there. But yeah, if you can swing it, man, you got to let me know. Cause
I'm sure we'll find something. I'm sure.
Yeah. 100%. Like I said, I would go out, I would drive out, your way as well. Signature King, Tony, what is going on, my friend? Good to see you. Tony's another one who I got to meet at a Comic-Con. We met out in HersheyCon about a year and a half, 2 years ago now at this point. Good to see you, Tony. But yeah, so that's cool. The other thing I wanted to ask you, just in terms of music, it sounds like you certainly love live shows and things like that. Can you recall like a favorite experience as far as going to see a live band or artist that you could tell us about?
Oh, so there's probably a few. I mean, my first concert ever was like Ozfest back in like late 90s, I think. I saw bands like Linkin Park and Slipknot and Godsmack. Like these bands that were like, I didn't realize the impact that they were going to have.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah, right.
So some of that was, and Ozzy, obviously. So that was really cool. The furthest I've ever traveled for, I went to a festival out in California for Fish. When they first got like back, I forget what year this was, but they played on Halloween, and I flew out to LA with a bunch of my friends. We rented a house in Indio, California for the weekend. It was a blast. It was so much fun. Though that's the furthest I've ever gone for a live show.
Right.
So those two probably are the like big standouts. But I've seen some really great shows. I saw Foo Fighters at MSG. That was awesome.
Man,
this past summer, I went to See Her Now and saw Bruce Springsteen on the beach in Asbury Park.
Oh wow,
so really, really cool stuff. So there's a lot, but those two, and when you like put me on the spot, those two seem to stand out. So
love it. Now the other thing too, I know we had connected on like and actually missed each other probably within a weekend or two, but you mentioned Atlantic City, AC, down south in Jersey. I know that you like to go down to that. Are you a gambler? And if you are, do you like, is there any like card game or slot machine or anything that you like, or anything?
So I don't gamble all that much. I don't have a problem with gambling. I just don't necessarily think I'm good at it.
Oh, gotcha. That's fair.
But I love craps. Craps is my game.
Yes, dude, it is the best, man.
What I always do whenever I go to like a casino is I go down and I place a sports bet like right away. Like I huge like parlay for a sports bet, and like if somehow this thing hits, which is ridiculous,
then you're up. Yeah, that's a great way.
And it's hit once.
Nice. All right.
But,
that's a good idea.
But yeah, craps is my game that I like to play. So
Sweet, man.
yeah.
Well, another selling point then for why you should go to TriffCon,
It's
because
it's the
we're
dice
out
thing,
late at
man.
night.
As a D&D player, man, it's the dice roll. Like,
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's cool. Very cool. Is there a spot you like to go down there in Atlantic City, just as far as like hotels go,
so
or
more
casinos?
recently, like I feel like every time I'm down there, it's Hard Rock because I'm normally pairing it
Hard Rock.
with a concert.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So,
Right. Hard Rock's
but
great for
I
that. Yep.
also love the Borgata and
Yeah,
like
me too.
also like that other side.
Yep.
So but honestly, anywhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like Hard Rock is where I go the most recently.
Most frequent,
when
yeah.
I'm down there.
I mean, it's so lively there, and like you said, for the music, especially
Yeah.
the nightlife down there is fantastic, and it's cool too. Like, I mean, obviously, you could stay anywhere and kind of hop around from casino,
Yeah.
just enough.
I haven't been down there in a while, and I say because you guys talk about Terrificon all the time, I'm like Atlantic City needs to get a comic book convention.
And I think they had
started,
something,
man.
but
Let's just do it. Let's just...
yeah, yes. No, you're absolutely right. I feel like there was something like a
yeah,
while back,
I
but
think they did.
it was nothing that really took off.
No.
I know there was like the East Coast Comic Con, but that wasn't really Atlantic
It
City.
has to be in a casino. I feel like the ones that they
know.
had down there in the convention center, it's like it's got to be in the casino.
It really is the best when you can do it even just at anywhere that takes place near a casino, because of the fact that it never closes. There's always stuff going on, and again, just selling points for Terrificon. But like that, you could always find something to do, and there's always somebody out and about, no matter what time of the day it is. And I say this as opposed to like Baltimore or New York Comic Con, which are all great. But like at the end of the day, you have to go home, or you have to go back to your hotel, or you have to go in separate directions, and you don't you can't just accidentally run into anybody at that point. Once you go back, if I take the train back to Jersey, the minute I'm out of the city, I'm way out of Comic-Con view, so at least with being in a casino, like, you go out to eat afterwards, and you can run into like Walt Simonson, which I know some of the guys like Colossus Collector and those guys did. They had breakfast with him, so that can happen. So that's I agree though. Atlantic City, that would be cool. Someone should put that together. There's Chinmo. What's going on, brother? Guest from last time. Good to see you, Chinmo. Brought you up a couple times here tonight, brother. Hope you're doing well. Happy holidays. Bobby too said hi to you earlier. Bobby, thanks for hanging. He's talking about, wait, you seen a ghost? Yeah, I seen a ghost. of course I seen a ghost. Twice, Ryan says, with Walt Simonson having breakfast. Yeah, that was
wild.
What an experience. And for some odd reason, I was not there at all for any of them. I missed it. That's really cool. Shoot, man, this is I gotta wrap up with one more question here, because I always like to, and of course it has to do with food, and it's gonna be a little food drink combination. So I always ask if it's like a Friday night, and it's you're home, you get to choose whatever you want. If you had one choice for dinner, whether it's going out or ordering in or cooking, even, what is your preference? What is the food that you order? And the addition to that is, what is your drink of choice? And is it what you're drinking tonight? I meant to ask you earlier, what are you drinking there? I have Johnny Walker Black with me.
So I'm drinking Bushmills.
Nice. Whiskey. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I love Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey on the rocks is normally like my drink of choice if I'm chilling. Guinness if I'm like out having a couple beers or something like that. Very Irish, if you can't tell.
Yeah, nice.
But as far as like food goes, I love to cook. Like that's another one of my hobbies for me. I love learning more things about cooking and trying different things. But like if I had to pick, and it goes, you asked the question earlier, it's like pizza and Coke on a Friday, and like give me a new movie. I'm good. Like if I'm not going out, that's what I want to be doing. Like that's perfect for me. Like I like when it comes to like if I'm like there's times in my life where it's like, okay, I gotta cool it with like what I'm eating, things like that, trying to get a little bit more healthy. It's impossible to give up pizza. I couldn't do it. Like of all the things, like sugar, not a problem. Other things like no issue. Right. Pizza was like impossible. Like I just, so it's solidified. I'd say close second is probably sushi. Like going to get like good sushi.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Always,
but yeah.
Always like sushi too. Yeah, no, but I'm right there with you, man. Pizza has got to be automatically in the diet.
That was like Friday night as a kid, like ordering pizza, soda, and watching a movie. Like that was it.
Yep. I mean, dude, if I could make that my every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night too, I would. And sometimes we do. Every once in a while, I'm like, let's have pizza. I'm an adult. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Let me just change it up. Like, as a kid, you couldn't always have that luxury of just,
It was Fridays and Fridays only.
Yeah. So no, very cool, man. Yeah, just right there with you. Do you have any preferences with pizza as far as toppings go, or do you care?
Give me a good cheese pizza, maybe like half pepperoni or full pepperoni sometimes, but
Yeah.
that's normally like my go-to. I always say like when I'm trying a new pizza place, like I'm just gonna get a cheese pizza. I'm like, because if you can't do this, you can't do anything right.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah,
So it's
that's
like
makes sense.
let's just
No,
test the waters a little bit.
yeah. No, that's valid. That's valid. Well, dude, Stevie, man, it has been a blast. Appreciate you coming on board here.
Of
It's
course,
been a
man.
pleasure. I mean, like I said before, man, just been getting to know you over the years, and finally able to set this up as well. And I know we'll have many good times to come. But
Yeah.
before we do wrap up, is there anything you want to highlight or anything you want to shout out? Any upcoming events or streams or anything that you want to highlight before we go?
Yeah, sure. So like I don't have too much going on. I'll be jumping back into doing some whatnot sales and stuff like that after the new year, after the holidays all settled and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously still doing stuff on Instagram. I want to like get back into doing some more stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. We'll see how that goes. As far as like cons and stuff like that, King Con is coming up.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'll be there for that. Hopefully I'll see you there for that too.
I'll be there. I bought my ticket. You could buy your ticket early. Actually,
Yeah, I did.
$5.
I did it. I was there at their little Halloween thing that they did.
Oh yeah,
I saw Greg
great,
there.
great.
So
Nice.
So yeah. But dude, I just wanted to take the time to say thank you. Like I really do appreciate everything. You've been
man.
so cool from like the jump when it comes to like me reaching out. Like your
Likewise.
show, this show specifically, Comic Collector Origins, was something that I gravitated to when I started to get back in the hobby around the pandemic, because I thought it was such a great idea. And it introduced me to all these different channels and all this other information out there. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And I actually got you something because it's the Christmas season. And I was so happy because I asked you this before. So I have this for you.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Graphic novel I'm watching. I will send this to you. This is your Christmas gift.
Oh, you're the best, man. You didn't have to do that. That's so
cool.
Dude.
I put the bow on it and everything.
Yes.
This is yours, man. I'm so happy you haven't read it because I'm so happy I'm the one to give it to you.
Yeah,
I buy extra copies of this book just to give it to people. That's
my God, dude. Okay, yeah.
So
then
this is for
like
you.
That,
Merry Christmas, bro. And again,
thank you, bro.
Again,
Merry
man.
Christmas.
Such a great dude in the community. Keep it up. I absolutely love what you do, man.
Right back at you, man. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, dude. Bobby saying very cool. Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. That's really cool. And hey, now I'll have that. I'll have no excuses but to read the dang thing, which is what I'd want to do for a long time. So
you will not be disappointed.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe we break it down or something at some point. We'll have to do a
I would
show.
love that. I would love
share
that.
some
I've read it. I've read it enough to.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much, man. We'll definitely we'll link up again soon. And yeah, man, just for anybody watching, thanks again. Make sure you are following Stevie. Make sure you're subbed up to him. I got to get your whatnot link too. I'll throw that in there later on.
Yeah, it is linked on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, my links are there in my little bio up top, so you can find it
perfect.
there.
There it is. Perfect. Well, very cool. And make sure you're subbed up to Stevie if you're not already. As far as upcoming shows for Comic Collector Origins go, I am going to be just taking a little 2-week break since the holidays are here, and obviously landing on both Christmas and New Year's. I won't be doing live streams on those Wednesdays, but I will be back that following January 8th, which I'll have my good friend Dan from Dan's X-Men Comics from the Council of X. So Dan will be my next guest for that. And I have a few more lined up, still looking to get a few more people kind of scheduled for this show. And, appreciate everybody that's been supporting this show. And now that I brought it back, I was doing it on Saturdays, 2 years ago, and back really even before it went back when the pandemic was a thing, and we couldn't go anywhere. Saturdays was a convenient time for everybody, but not so much now. So I appreciate everybody willing to kind of adjust and do these random Wednesdays. And I've been doing them every other Wednesday, so it hasn't been as often as I was before, but trying to make it convenient for my own schedule and also for other people's schedules. So I do appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, and everybody in the chat who's been with us all evening tonight. Really do appreciate it. And if you're watching the live stream, the replay, thank you for doing that too. This is I guess technically my last stream before the new year and everything. I might pop on.
Happy New Year.
Exactly. I mean, I might do something maybe in between a little. I told John we got to find some time to do maybe one live Lego build before the end of the year.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, if anyone's interested in that, it's basically just we set up a live stream. We just build Lego. You hear a lot of noises of all the crinkliness and everything, but it's just me and friends, and we just talk about random things while we build Lego. So, you know, maybe try to get one of those through the end of the December month here. But otherwise, if you guys are, you know, for whatever you celebrate, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody and your families and loved ones and friends. Hope everybody is, you know, able to enjoy it, and also the new year. If you need me, I'll be on Instagram still doing my thing, posting stuff all the time. So keep an eye out for that. But from everybody, again, just cheers, and you know, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and see you next time. Happy New Year's.